Every night I sit here by my window, staring at the lonely avenue, watching lovers holding hands and laughing, and thinking about the things we used to do.
Thinking of things
like a walk in the park, like a kiss in the dark, like a sailboat ride. What about the night we cried? Things like a lover's vow, things that we don't do now. Thinking about the things we used to do. Memories are all I have to cling to, and heartaches are the friends I'm talking to. When I'm not thinking of just how much I loved you, but I'm thinking about the things we used to do.
Thinking of things
like a walk in the park, like a kiss in the dark, like a sailboat ride. What about the night we cried? Things like a lover's vow, things that we don't do now. Thinking about the things we used to do. I still can hear the jukebox softly playing, and the face I see each day belongs to you. Though there's not a single sound and there's nobody else around, well, it's just me thinking of the things we used to do.
Thinking of things
like a walk in the park, like a kiss in the dark, like a sailboat ride. What about the night we cried? Things like a lover's vow, things that we don't do now. Thinking about the things we used to do, and the heartaches are the friends I'm talking to. You got me thinking about the things we used to do.
The legacy of Bobby Darin is that of a far-sighted artist who seldom compromised and conducted himself with a determination rarely encountered in the world of pop.
It's very interesting when people who were not alive during the sequence of an artist's career get to appreciate the whole lot in one go.
Music expert and broadcaster Paul Gambaccini.
That is the situation that someone like Johnny Depp or Keanu Reeves would be in. They like Bobby Darin, but they probably aren't too sure which came before what. In that case, I think it would be that they would think of him as a versatile artist who could do all of these things, probably at the same time. Rather than having him go through the styles, it would be as if he could sing 10 songs, and now I'm going to do a folk song, and now I'm going to do a Broadway song, and now I'm going to do a Ray Charles song. Actually, it becomes more impressive. So I think Bobby Darin probably will survive as an even more astonishing artist than he was in his lifetime, because he looks like he can do anything in 2 minutes' time.
Tim Rice.
He seemed to adapt brilliantly to almost any vocal or any songwriting style, and usually it worked very well in the swing mode, or when he was doing country and western such as Things, or when he was doing rock and roll. He was superb. I mean, he just did it naturally. It wasn't faked. He wasn't trying to imitate or cashing in. It was just something that he could do naturally.
Musician Roger McGuinn.
I'd give him a 10. He was a wonderful pop singer. He was a great songwriter. He could dance. He could play the vibraphone and play the drums and guitar, and he was an all-around entertainer, kind of in the old school. I asked Bobby for tips on how to make it in the entertainment business, and he was very helpful. He was a mentor to me. For example, he told me how to get up in front of audiences. He said, get up in front of audiences as much as you can, because it doesn't matter how good you are in your living room or in front of the mirror. You have to really test it under fire. So I took him up on that. I went down to Greenwich Village and I started playing at all the coffee houses in the village and performing for as many people as I could.
Soft music, crowd overflows. faces and party time clothes. Some dance, but I'm not one to tango. She knows. Part of the picture's making the scene, but making it cool, pistachio green. She knows I'm no Sunday smoker, no sir. Putting on a show, keeping time with one another, stepping in between the broken lines. As anyone can see, no, she wouldn't go so well with me if she didn't know what's on my mind. As if she didn't know my pleasure, feeling at home, knowing she's near me, we're finally alone. That's me, and that's the me that she knows, she knows. My pleasure, feeling at home, knowing she's near me, we're finally alone. That's me, and that's the me that she knows. She knows there'll be good days, there'll be bad days. There'll be days she needs a comforting word.
He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990. Paul Anka did the honours.
Yes, I did. I was a part of that, presented it to him. His son had come to my shows many times. Ahmet Erdogan, who was part of the discovery team that found Bobby, had called me and knew of our history together, and Ahmet and Bobby and I and a few of us who were survivors of the 50s. We've always reminisced of those days, and it was a wonderful night. His son was there, and it was justly due. Bobby was, probably one of the most different artists back then. Certainly not indigenous to what was happening in terms of the bands, the rock and roll that was around at the time. He and I were the only ones that spun out to head toward the Sinatra type of territory, and he hit it real quick.
He was finally given recognition as a songwriter when he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1999. A fellow inductee that year was Sir Tim Rice.
Every other year they had this big bash. They always seemed to have an incredible lineup of live songwriters. But I went up and was inducted and made a little speech, and actually devoted a fair chunk of my speech to how great I thought Bobby Darin was. And I was delighted to find that his brother was in the audience, and he came up and thanked me warmly. And I said, well, it was easy to say a few words about Bobby Darin because I was a genuine fan.
When we played our charade, we were like children posing, playing at games, acting out names, guessing the parts we played. Oh, what a hit we made. We came on next to closing, best on the bill, lovers until love left the masquerade. Fate seemed to pull the strings. I turned and you were gone, while from the darkened wings the music box played on. Sad little serenade, song of my heart's composing. I hear it still, I always will, best on the bill charade. Fate seemed to pull the strings. I turned and you were gone, while from the darkened wings the music box played on and on. Sad little serenade, song of my heart's composing. I hear it still, guess I always will, best on the bill